Hi guys. So at some point last year I did some tea dyeing and some rust dyeing. Now some of them have been rust dyed and some of them have actually been outside with some rust as well, and the marks on them are lovely, and I've not done anything with them. They've just been sat in a bowl and I've seen them the other day and I thought, oh, I need to do something with them. So yeah, I need to do some more because they are lovely. This is a piece of box section. My partner is a metal worker, engineer, and he makes things from metal. So these are all offcuts, so I think that were a bolt or a screw. And this were a piece of box section, another piece there. I don't know what that was, but yeah, great patterns. Sorry, I keep knocking the camera. It must be a bit close. But they're lovely. They look like little tea stains, and it's just the rust reacting with the cotton, with the material. So I thought it was time to use them, and I like how it goes black sometimes as well. Oh, here's another piece. And then, so when I first started slow stitching, I did some meditation scrolls, and I'm going to show you what one is and how to start one with these scraps. And they won't all be that size either. So this is my piece of fabric that I'm going to work on. So it's not overly big, but it's long enough to start with. I picked a piece of driftwood up from the beach on holiday. So this is from Corfu. So when I've finished my scroll, or when I'm part way through, it can roll onto there like so, and I'll show you what I've done. This is on a bobbin, this one. This was one of my very first ones, and it's all my little scraps of fabric that I don't throw away, and I keep them and I put them on there here. And I think it's Kathryn at K3N Cloth Tales. If you look for her on YouTube, she does some gorgeous ones, and she does some really nice like challenges, sewing, based on sewing and stitching, and eco dyeing your fabrics. I'll fasten that up later because that's going to take ages. But here's another one. I haven't put this on a bobbin, and they're really handy to take on a journey with you in the car, or I take them on the train if I'm going visiting people in Yorkshire. I take them on the train with me, and I get them out if I'm waiting in a hospital for people, or if I'm just sat quietly at home at night. They come out and I start stitching. So there's another one. There's a bit of sari silk in there, an old scarf, some old material that was my mum's when she used to do quilting. That's an old top. So it's nice looking back. That's an old top as well. It's nice to look back and see, and just stitch. And on this one I've just running stitched it together, and I think I've done some blanket stitch somewhere along the line as well. But any old scraps. And then I did a diddy one, and I don't think I've started on this one. I've just basted it to a base. Yeah, so I've just basted this to a base, and it's more pinkies, pinks and greens, and it's just on a bobbin, and it's just linen, cotton from an old bed sheet, I think, that I've dyed with coffee or tea. but it's very therapeutic to just stitch. So I'm going to start a new one with a view that I've got some thingy wood, what's it called, that you get off the beach, and there's another one that's a bit more colourful. And I've done straight stitch, running stitch in there, but not very many stitches. Not many stitches in any of them really, because I think I moved on to a different project. But they're there, ready for winter, because it tends to be winter when I'm doing them, or if I'm travelling. They did go on holiday with me, but I didn't get a chance to do them because I was doing my bigger piece that you've probably all seen. So yeah, so I picked up a few little driftwood pieces on the beach as a reminder of my holiday. It's quite a big one, but it's lovely. But every time I touch them, we get sand everywhere. But they are lovely. So let's get started. Sand everywhere now. So this is going to be my base, and I'm just going to use some white cotton. Can I find my white cotton? I should have found that out, shouldn't I? I think it's in the bottom of here. No, it's not. Just bear with me a minute while I find my cotton. I found my cotton. So I'm just going to baste some of these pieces on. So I'm going to shred some of them into smaller pieces so that they're easier to work with. And here's my little thing. But I just find it really therapeutic, and I'm so glad that I found it to do as a hobby. Because it's really nice, because life's very busy with 2 grandchildren living at home and my own children. It gets very busy, so it's nice to be able to switch off and just stitch. And there's no reason for them, no method, just to calm down and chill and just breathe nicely and gently, and just try to tie material without it. There. So I like my material like torn, like this. So it just makes it look a bit more battered, doesn't it? Oh, I've forgotten about my coffee. I always forget my coffee. I always end up drinking cold coffee. I'm sorry if you can hear my dishwasher, but it's on because I need to catch up on some washing now that it stopped raining again. So I'm going to leave a gap here, which has got the nicest markings. It's quite plain, isn't it? So I think we'll just start a little bit in so that there's room for a fastener if I need to do a fastener, you know, to attach it to the actual thing. Stick. Now I'm just going to baste this on, which I didn't even realise what basting was. That's how much of a sewer I am. So basting is just one tiny little stitch like that next to the first stitch, and move along and come up, so it's hardly visible in your material, but it's an anchor for your material, so it stays where you want it. So you don't have to use pins and things like that, and because me and pins, I always end up prickling myself. I don't know about you. So yeah. But it holds your cloth in place, and the basting well, I think they call it invisible basting because you can hardly see it. I'll show you when I've done. And it's so easy, and it works. Just a scattering of tiny stitches, but it holds that quite all right. And I don't know that you can see them, but there you go. Look. Tiny stitches. So I'll just baste the rest of this off. So what you all doing today? I've got a working day from 11, but then from then my time's my own. So this morning I've no clients till later, so I thought, do you know, I'm going to get some slow stitching done, and I've wanted to show people how to do this on my channel for a while, so I thought, right, let's do it, because I don't always get a chance to get online anymore on YouTube, just because of life. And a lot of my videos aren't edited anymore because it just takes up far too much time to edit, so I just go with the flow, and it is how it is. So on the day that it's made is the day that it's made, and I don't generally edit my videos anymore because I just haven't got time, and by the time I've done the editing it could be a week or more, and then it doesn't get put up, which that's a pointless thing. So yeah, so if they're a bit I won't say dodgy, but if they're not quite up to like perfect standard, that's because I'm not perfect and I'm not the whiz at technology. I do all right, but I know people are better than me at doing things, but I get by, and I think it's all right, and I'm only human, and that's life, isn't it? And life's busy. We're all quite busy, aren't we? And that's why something like this is very nice, just to slow you down and, you know, take a breath and just relax while you're doing it. And it doesn't have to become anything, it doesn't have to be anything, you don't have to be making anything, it don't have to be for a purpose, it don't have to be for any reason other than it's nice and it's therapeutic, and that's it. So that's my first piece basted on, and it's quite secure. So we'll go down there doing that, and I'll try and get different size pieces so that it looks a bit more. And the different shades of the markings on the cloth as well look really good, and it doesn't matter if it's not lined up, it doesn't matter at all, but I like that check there, look at that, that's cool. So I like that. So that last base stitch is there, and I will try to overlap them a little bit so that they've got a little bit of like that, so that they're a bit more anchored down together as a piece rather than have gaps in. And then once I've basted this, what I'll do is I'll go over it all with either a running stitch or a blanket stitch, or whatever stitches you like, whatever you find is your like favourite stitches. Do that, because it's yours. You can do as you please with it. So I think on, is it this one? I think it might be on this one that I've done running stitch, running stitch, running stitch, running stitch. I think that's running stitch all along, isn't it? So it must be the other one, this one. And I've done some blanket stitch on it, I think. And I've done some other stitches too, look. So I've made some patterns with the thread. And I've done some seed stitches and some blanket stitches. Just some straight stitches, some crosses, a circle. So it's all different types of stitches, making all sorts of different patterns. So you can do what you want, and it's yours to do as you please with, and stitch it how you want. It doesn't matter that it isn't perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. So yeah, and these are some of my favourite things to do, especially in winter, or even in the garden when it's been hot and sunny here in the UK, or when I was in Greece on holiday. I got my stitching out round the pool, and this is the stitching that I took on holiday. I'll show you just in case you haven't seen it before. And I started this on a play date with Brooke Henry, and it's just grown. It started as 2 pieces of fabric, and it's just got bigger and bigger. Let me zoom you out so you can see better. There. And it's just grown and grown. That's one half of it, and it's beautiful. And that's the other side, and it just grows and grows. And as I get to the edge, I just add some more material, and they're just scraps of material, pieces of bedding, pieces of clothing from a charity shop. We went to a fabric sale, I think it was in November, me and my daughter, over in Burnley, and I actually got that material there, and it was like £1 for a yard. It was amazing. So a lot of this is from just scraps of fabric, things that I got off maybe Vinted, old clothes. People have given me fabrics because they know what I do, so they save things for me if they've got any. And this is what I've been doing, and this is what I sat around the pool doing. But it all just fits in my little bag, so it fit in there. And because we had a suitcase, I took my little tote bag too, with some extra materials in. My other half thought I was mad taking this on the plane, but my scissors got on the plane because they're less than 4 inches, the blade size. My needles got on without any problems. So yeah, take your sewing on holiday and stitch around the pool where it's chilled and you're relaxing. And yeah, I sat watching, I think I watched football and got my stitching out whilst I was watching football. On holiday, it's great. Anywhere where you're relaxing and you can do it, and on the train is amazing. So what were we doing? Back to this and basting. But yeah, and I just think that so many people have got problems with mental health and anxiety and things like that, and I just think the world that we live in is just so busy. It'd be nice to just slow down. I mean, our house is chaos. Most of the time we've got 2 children, that are, one's at nursery and one's at a play scheme today because it's the summer holidays. My partner's a farmer. My eldest daughter works on the land in farming, and my youngest is a carer who works 24-hour shifts in a home for children. They all do different shifts. My eldest daughter, when it was so hot in the UK, they were starting work at 4 a.m. in the morning and working till maybe 6-7 o'clock at night. So, you know, if you go to the shop and you buy spinach in a bag, my daughter may well have harvested that spinach because that's what she does. Or lettuce, your iceberg lettuce, that's grown locally around here as well, and your celery, things like that. So when you're eating your lettuce, just think that the person that's cut that lettuce might have started work at 4 o'clock for you to eat that lettuce that week. And they all work so hard. I work at home part-time, look after childcare, look after meals, look after the house and everything like that. So it's busy. So this is a way of me relaxing. So when the kids have gone to bed or when they're not at home, my stitching comes out. I've done a bit of housework today. The dishwasher's on. I don't know if you can hear it. Sorry if you can. I'll check it later before I put it on. So I've got a few hours peace. So my stitching comes out. The house is a tip generally, but me chilling and taking this peaceful time and having some time to myself is precious to me. It's been a long time coming. Since Lily was born, she's always at home, always, unless they go out for the day. And it gets busy, and now she's 2.5. So life is hectic with a 2-year-old, but love her to bits, and life has just got a little bit easier because she goes to nursery 3 days in a week, which is just amazing. Right, I've just tied that off really simply at the back by just doing it under another stitch, but you can see. And then what I might do when I'm slow stitching is pick out some of the detail and stitch around it. In some thread that's probably quite like earthy tones, a bit like what these are, you know, like rusty colours. Let's try find some that's got some patterns on. This is like satin, this, like silky. Let's put some of this on because it's all a bit, this has gone a bit of a grey colour, but I really like it, and speckled, look. Do like it. Let's shred a piece of this. I haven't done any rust dyeing for a while. Maybe I should do some. And I'll do a package that sits outside. We've got a tin roof and there's no guttering on part of it. So when it rains, and it rains a lot here, sometimes, when it rains, and I'm quite open to the elements where we live, open fields. So there's not much protection from the weather. So when I put these outside to catch the weather, it catches a lot of weather. And putting it outside ages it. Now some of the pieces that I put outside last year have nearly disintegrated. I'll show you one of the pieces because they go a bit brittle. Where are they? I've just touched them. But they go quite brittle. But I love this piece. And again, it's got a bit of that box section on from the metal work. And this is some old scrappy fabric that I just wanted to see what it'd do. And it was just a piece of fabric. So I love the markings that it makes. So they'll get added as well. But then I did, was it this? This was an old piece of cloth that is all lace around the edges, and it had a nice big lace motif in it. And I do believe that my mum had it on a dresser or a cabinet to save the cabinet getting spoiled, or it was on a coffee table. But I love how it's gone dark and black and all rusty. Love it. So we'll probably use some of that as well. But all the different textures in the cloth, from the different types of cloth, you get different markings and it looks different, and it's amazing. It's really good. And I think this is one of Lily's cot sheets, and this has gone really black and grey. So I love that as well. So just experiment. And my rust is in a old pickle jar, I think, and it lives on the window bottom outside, catching the rain from the drips, and that's where it lives all year. And then when I want to do anything, I'll transfer it into one of the foil roasting tins that you get quite cheap. I use one of them, and I use the water from outside because it's rainwater, and I use all the stuff that's inside it, the nuts, the bolts, the scrap pieces of metal. I go rooting in the garage in his workshop to find any other scraps that I can, just to add to the little parcel that I make. And then I leave them and I cover them in tin foil, not tin foil, cling film, so that it don't get knocked and spilt, and put it somewhere and leave it. But then the one outside, I wrap it up with some twine. Here's some twine from last year's. I wrap it up with this so that it goes all old and brittle, but it's really nice. So I wrap it up with this and leave it outside. I think the last one got left outside for maybe a month to 6 weeks. I don't think it was there much longer. And I put it just at the side of, like, just behind where the wheelie bin is, because there's a roof above them, and again it gets dripped on all the time, and it gets a lot of weather, and it gets the leaves from the trees. In fact, a lot of the leaves off the trees have fallen because it's so dry, so they're losing a lot of the leaves, and they're all around my back door. So I might actually go and gather some of those leaves to do some eco printing, eco dyeing, and layer some of the leaves into my fabrics as well. And I just use muslin, a muslin cloth, you know, like you use for babies. That's what I used on this one, muslin. Oh, there's a bit of broderie anglais there from an item of clothing. That's gone quite nice. And then this one is muslin. We have an abacan, so if I want things like that, I just go and buy a yard, and it's not a right lot of money, but it's quite nice for backing things and having available. So yeah, right, let me get back onto this, so what I might do is finish here and carry on, and then come back when I've filled the section, because I don't think it'll get done today, because it might take a while. But I hope you've enjoyed watching, and I hope you have a go. And if you do have a go, pop me a comment and tag me on my Instagram under Mama Bears Crafts for You, because I think in the comments on Instagram now you can share pictures, which is fabulous. So you can share your work with me down there, and that'd be really cool, and show me what you've done. And you don't need a stick. You can put it on a bobbin, you can put it on a peg, and put it on a rolling pin. Anything that you find to put it on. Don't have to be a stick, or it can be a tree branch. I've got a snippet roll that I made with paper, and that's on a twig that I found outside, but it was the perfect size, and does the job brilliantly. So use what you can find, use what you've already got, and yeah, have a lovely day. I think it's Tuesday today, so no, it's not, it's Wednesday. Have a good day, whatever you're doing, and I'll catch you all again soon. Bye.